Okay, tonight's homework is 10-3. We are subtracting fractions that have unlike denominators. Last night we were adding fractions that had unlike denominators. So tonight we're just going to do the same thing, only rather than add, we are subtracting. So the first step, of course, is to write these down in a vertical format. So 1/2 minus 1/8. Now for some of you it might be easier to do it this horizontal way, but the way I've always taught it and the way that's easiest for me is in the vertical form. So the first thing that we need to do in order to subtract these two fractions, and that you cannot subtract them unless they have common denominators. And since these two fractions do not have common denominators, what we have to do is rewrite them in an equivalent format. So we have to find a denominator that works for both of them. And here's how we do that. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the 2 and we're going to look at the 8. And we're going to see which one. Now, first of all, we have to look at this 2 and say, is 2 a factor of 8? If you forgot what a factor is, when you multiply two numbers together, 5 times 5, these 5s are both factors. So is 2 a factor of 8? That means can we take 2, multiply it by something, and get 8 as an answer? And the answer is yes, because 2 times 4 equals 8. So if that smaller number is a factor of the larger number, you can go ahead and just use this larger number as your common denominator. Okay, that's not always going to work, like in number 5, which is 5/6 minus 1/4. Okay, if we look at these two, the smallest number, 4, that is not a factor of 6. We cannot take 4, multiply it by anything, and get 6 as an answer. That does not work. So instead, we have to use a different strategy. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to start looking at multiples until we get a common multiple. So we'll just start counting by 4s. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. So 4, 8, 12, 16. All we're doing is counting by 4s. Same thing with the 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 6 is 18. Now I'm going to stop right there because we've already found one that they have in common. It's 12. Okay, so 12 is a great denominator to use because 12 is a multiple of both 6 and 4. So we're going to go ahead and use 12 for both of these. Okay, again, we're using 12 because it is a multiple of 6. It is also a multiple of 12. Okay, now I'll come back to this one. I'm going to go back to the first one I started. Hopefully I'm not confusing you by jumping between two problems. But back to this one. Now that we have a common denominator, okay, we have to go ahead and make both of these fractions equivalent or equal. So 1/8 is equal to how many 8s? Well, that's 1/8. That one's an easy one. But 1/2 is equal to how many 8s? Well, we have to convert that, and the way we're going to do it is 2 times what number equals 8? It's 2 times 4. And what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So 1 times 4 equals 4. So 1/2 is equivalent to 4/8. Okay? Now that both of these numbers have the same denominators, we can go ahead and subtract them. So 4/8 minus 1/8 equals 3/8. And that is in simplest form because 3 is prime. And what that means is only 1 and 3 are factors of 3. You can only get 3 by multiplying 1 times 3. Okay, so it is prime. Number 5, our common denominator is 12. So again, we have to convert these and make them equivalent. So 4 times 3 equals 12. What we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So 1 times 3 equals 3. Now we have to convert the next one. 6 times 2 equals 12. And what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So 5 times 2 equals 10. So now we can go ahead and subtract this. 10/12 minus 3/12 equals 7/12. And again, this fraction is already in simplest form because 7 is prime. That means 1 and 7 are the only two numbers that can be multiplied to get 7. And 7 is not a multiple of 12. I hope this was helpful for you. Good luck.